Another thing that we build into our curriculum is explicit teaching on things that students need to know about the university environment. So for example, what's a major, what's a minor, what's a double major? And then things like dates, when can we add a course or drop a course, and what average do I have to maintain in order to remain in my program, all of those sorts of things. And then of course we do some explicit teaching on group work and seminars and different formats that students will face in the university environment. And so we hope that by doing all of this explicit teaching on these things, that again, it's a way of empowering the students so that when they enter regular studies, degree studies, that they already know these things and they're ready to sort of take the bull by the horns and register for courses, go around the university, talk to the people that they need to talk to, they know what departments they need to go to, they know who they need to talk to in what situation, and so on. And that when they go into group work and courses, when they go into seminars and courses, that they are ready and equipped to do those things. And we've already dealt with some of that learning curve for them, so that they're ready when they get to degree studies.
Thank you. So we've talked quite a bit about how Trent ESL and our curriculum help set students up for learner independence. But when the rubber meets the road, what does this look like for individual instructors planning individual lessons?
That's a good question. I guess it depends a little bit on the course, of course, but I think that big picture, one of the things that we do is that we tailor our courses to what we offer here at the university. So for example, our courses are thematically or topically organized, and so we select topics that reflect the different disciplines that we offer here at the university. Another thing that we do is that we have been very deliberate about looking at first-year courses around the university and exploring what types of assignments do students actually face in first-year courses. What are they actually asked to do in first-year courses? And then what we teach in our EAP classes reflects what happens in those first-year courses. So, for example, in our EAP program, we do more than just teaching the standard essay. We teach report writing, we teach annotated bibliographies, we teach writing critical reviews and other things, because we understand that students will be actually asked to do those things in their degree courses. And so I guess one thing that I would say is that what we're aiming to do in our EAP level is to actually be, shall we say, more on par with first year than on par with a high school course. And we want to sort of replicate what's happening out there. But in terms of making students independent learners, certainly by the highest level of our EAP program, and it starts even in the second highest level, but by the highest level, very often what I'm doing is I'm asking the students what they need to learn. So for example, if I assign one of the long papers, and I say to them one day, okay, tonight I want you to go home and do some preliminary research to try and figure out your topic. Then the next, and maybe I'll do a little teaching on how to do preliminary research, or I'll get them to give me some input about how do you think you would do some primary research or preliminary research. Pardon me. And then the next day when they come to class, I'll say to them, okay, so what did you learn? How did it go? What went well for you? What difficulties did you encounter? And then actually my lesson will come out of what they tell me. And I may anticipate they're probably going to have trouble with keyword choice. But sometimes they surprise me, and sometimes what I anticipate is not the question that they ask or the area that they have difficulty with. And so I confess I have to be able to think on my feet, but my lessons are very responsive to what the learners tell me about their learning process. And that is nearly always the starting point for my lesson, so that they are becoming aware of what their difficulties are, and I'm teaching to what their difficulties are instead of me trying to second guess what they are having difficulty with and then teaching to that, and then I'm wrong. And so they need to start coming to class equipped, having thought about what they need help with, and then I teach to that point.
Well, that's all well and good for a highly experienced EAP instructor, but what would you say to new or young teachers that would be terrified by the prospect of showing up in class without highly organized stage aims?
I think that's a good point. I must admit, I only started teaching like this later in my career, after I had a considerable experience, both with teaching degree students and with teaching ESL and EAP. That said, I still think that a younger, less experienced teacher could adopt elements of this. For example, a younger teacher could do just as I do, assign the homework one day, say do the preliminary research and come up with your topic by tomorrow, and then the next day go to class and say, how did it go? And then, that how did it go discussion then might just be shorter. And I suppose one option then would be, if some things come out of that discussion, then the teacher could say, okay, that's good, maybe we'll look at that tomorrow. And then the instructor could then go on with their planned lesson and then go away and then plan a lesson for tomorrow that would address the questions that came up in the existing lesson. So that would be one possibility. I think another thing that a younger teacher can still do is that they can encourage the students to do reflective learning. I think I mentioned this a few minutes ago, is that I get the students to do what I call reflective learning presentations. And so a younger teacher could still get the students to do that. Think about your process of writing this paper. Think about your process of preparing for this presentation. Think about your process for getting ready for seminars, whatever it is that you're doing. And then think about what worked and what didn't work. So encouraging the students then to do some reflection. So I think that there are still elements that even a new teacher could do.
That's a very nice present you just wrapped up and handed off to new teachers, is double dipping on your assignments. Write the essay, and then the next writing assignment is a metacognitive assignment about how the essay went.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you very much, Glenda, and happy holidays.